Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show at 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. It's raining here in Seattle, but at least it's not as cold as it was. I mean, it was really cold, and it's maybe snowing in the mountain. I'm not sure. I, I'm glad to be back on. I mean, I love being on, and this is a great week to get started. Going to get started with some updates from Mr. Rye here. I haven't been on for a couple weeks, so how you doing, Mr. Rye?
Just fine, Reverend Harriett. I never should have promised God if it didn't rain on Martin Luther King Day, it could rain the rest of the month. So I asked for it. So I apologize to everybody because I'm the one that prayed for. I said, Lord, if you just don't let it rain on a holiday, you can rain the rest of the month. And the Lord delivered what I requested. So I'm no, I have to be responsible for some of that.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. And I know you got a lot of updates. And so I just let you get started. I mean, you told me something I had known about earlier, not too long ago, about Dr. King's son. So, yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, Dr. King's son, Dexter Scott King, passed away yesterday. His birthday was January 30th. He was 62 years old. He was more like the rest of the King family. He was 7 years old when his father was killed, and so he's had some turbulent times in his life. He also played his father in a movie that was on, and
Okay.
he was a short timer at the King Center. I guess there was some differences of opinion on how that should go, but nonetheless, that's Yolanda King, who was passed away, the oldest sister, who actually took care of him as a little boy.
Okay.
And now he's passed away. So that leaves Reverend Bernice and Martin Luther King III. So, and just celebrating Dr. King's birthday and the holiday last Monday, and then to have this happen 6 days after that, is kind of shocking, but life will have to go on. And I just really feel sorry for the King family. But going back to the King holiday, was a very successful event last week. Hayward Evans did an outstanding job with the career fair, along with John Glenn, Leslie Patton, and Marlene, and the group from WorkSource. They did an outstanding job. There was about 60 different participants there in terms of agencies, employers, training programs. Some of the Divine Nine showed up. That's the sororities and fraternities,
Right.
and they showed up with all their stuff. Dr. King was an alpha. The workshops were full. There was a workshop on the 11th that was done by the Black Prisoners Caucus, the women's division of the Black Prisoners Caucus, and then on the 14th, on that Sunday, was a youth event at the McKinney Center for Community and Economic Development. The official name is the Central District Community Preservation and Development Authority. The building on 21st and Jackson, that was brought here by Reverend Dr. Sanberry McKinney, is the Seattle Opportunities Industrialization Center. But overall, at the Opportunity Fair, it was packed. I did a lot of activities during the King holiday, and also I was a proud recipient of an award presented at the Minister's Prayer Breakfast, which was
Okay.
held at Seattle Sheridan that morning at 7
Oh,
o'clock.
okay.
I don't like getting up at 5:30, but it started. That was the hardest part. And then I also made some comments at the rally regarding the history of the march itself, which was 41 years old on the 15th. And as a matter of fact, the very first march was Saturday, January 15th, 1983.
Wow.
And we were protesting and picketing because people had filed a lawsuit for us not to change the name of Empire Way to Martin Luther King Jr. Way. And like I said, all the major media were opposed to it. When I did a little interview, they cut a lot of that part out, but that's just a reality. Uh, uh, they were all opposed to it. And then on that Saturday, January 15, 1983 march was led by then Councilman Sam Smith. So we
Wow.
did have
Okay.
some support. He and the late Councilman George Benson,
Excuse me.
two of the strongest advocates in the city. Uh, the Roy administration had wanted to say they wanted the street just to go from Madison, where it started, which was the Black community at the time, to where it intersects with Rainier Avenue, because the people on the other side of the street, the south side of Martin Luther King Jr. Way, had filed complaints and lawsuits, and it got to be real ugly. The Justice Department had to get involved. There were death threats made. People said that it was going to cost them too much money, and Mayor Charles Roy was sympathetic to them. But Sam Smith and George Benson said, nope, naming half a street for a great man is a half an honor. And then later on, we found out that Empire Way was State Highway 900.
Right.
It began at Madison, on Madison Avenue. And
right.
So they didn't want the MLK signs to be on the freeway, but since it was State Highway 900, they had to have the signs up on the freeway. And it does go through Seattle, parts of Tukwila, and a little piece of Renton. And then we also talked about the county name change, which was after November 2nd, 1983, President Ronald Reagan designated the third Monday in 1986 of January to be the first King holiday. And about 2 weeks after that, King County Councilmember Ron Sims and Bruce Lang had a proclamation to proclaim that the county was going to be named for Martin Luther King Jr. But after 13 years passed, in 1999 at the Martin Luther King event, I raised the question that where there was no evidence this was Martin Luther King Jr. County, and Larry Gossett was the chair of the committee at that time, and I put a motion on the floor that Councilman Gossett should try to find out what we need to do to officially have the name of Martin Luther King, the official name, changed to Martin Luther King Jr. County. And as it turns out, State Senator Adam Klein, I thought it was 6 times, he introduced legislation 8 times before it passed from 1999 to 2005. And it finally passed in 2005. Governor Christine Gregoire came to the Martin Luther King Jr. County Courthouse, signed the legislation. Then it took us another 12 or 13 months to get the logo. we had some folks, even when they did the proclamation in '86, it was a 5-4 vote. Some people saying, well, we should have a picture of the county courthouse as a logo for King County. And naturally, I said the King County Courthouse don't look like Martin Luther King Jr. So eventually, Vivian Phillips, I can remember Tony's last name. Now he's deceased, but he was the graphic artist. A lot of people chimed in. We had a lot of support from the clergy, making sure that they talked to their council members and also let the county executive know that it's something we supported. So that was the history of the street. Like I said, it was very contentious. Folks got death threats. As a matter of fact, we even heard that a couple of times we had some Seattle police officers who were opposed to it. And some was
that's not unusual for them. They still oppose. Some of them went to DC not too long ago, a few years
January
ago.
6th, they were right there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
we still don't know who they were.
No, I mean, and I think that's kind of terrible that we don't know who they were. But also, this event here, Martin Luther King honoring Dr. King, is the oldest one in the country, isn't it?
I don't know if we are older than Atlanta, but I know we've been consistent with turning out a very large march, the workshops, and the Opportunities Fair started like about 5 years ago because Hayward Evans, I was discussing, people come, they enjoy the rally, the march, the workshops, and come back and they enjoy the meal and the fellowship. But what about the people that have needs? And so we came up with the idea of having an opportunity fair. And John Birchie and the city of Seattle and Christina Van Middlesworth, they carried the ball for the last couple of years. Christina got a new job and John had additional stuff added on his plate as one of the training advisors for the city of Seattle. So Hayward and I, because we were the ones that started, we went back in and we'll be getting some younger folks to step in and
got to get some young people
on the sideline.
Got to get some young people.
That's what we did with the Martin Luther King MLK Organizing Coalition is the leadership of mostly young people, and that's where it should be. And I don't know if you at the rally, I think Toya Taylor's sister is responsible for having these young men. The youngest guy was in the 6th grade.
Wow.
And they give some dynamic speeches. And I think we have a recording of that because it needs to be played again.
Wow. That's probably a good idea.
Other to inspire the parents of these young folks
Right.
to make sure their young people get involved in this, understand what's going on politically, because they're going to have to navigate the system when they get out of grade school, middle
Yeah.
school.
But now, wasn't there another update too? Didn't you have a letter from about the case that we were working on from?
Yeah, about there was a situation with another sham outreach session, like the state and the feds require for contractors and businesses to do outreach. And we had
Right.
a situation where some Black truckers were called in by a Black consultant, and we hear now she didn't have all the information, but on her email it says, "We want you to come in to discuss opportunities in trucking." So 10 Black truckers showed up at the meeting, a few others, and they started talking about this contract. It was $11 million dump truck contract, and Elton Mason, who bids and watches stuff real closely, he owns Washington State Sand and Gravel. His late father was J.D. Mason, who was the president of the Independent Truckers and Black Excavators Association years ago. So he's been around the industry for a long time, and he raised the question: uh, who did you award what about the dump truck contracting? And so the person at Graham Construction, like Graham Contractors, oh, that's been out of award already, but it's confidential. Elton Mason said, no, it's not. You gave it to Grady for $11 million. And you saw the correspondence that the State Office of Minority Women Business Enterprise has suspended Grady but they're still on the job, but suspended them because they haven't came in to prove that they are disadvantaged, like they said. And prior to the husband, I guess it was a divorce, there was another Grady who was a female who they got all kind of contracts. So right now we still see the same contractors with all this work going on. We got 10 Black truckers who are not moving and all the opportunities in the world going on. So we've been trying to get the feds to investigate this thing. The Attorney General and Christine Clark, I think he made her do it, sent our racial discrimination complaint against Washington State over to the Department of Transportation. No one's heard a word from the Department of Transportation since the complaint was filed November 23rd, 2021.
Right. It's
And
been a while now, and it don't
it's
look
been a
like we're
while.
going to get it. Don't look like we're going to get any movement on this case, does it?
Well, I'm asking the members of the Congressional Black Caucus to help out because economic discrimination is really one of the most harmful
Well, it
forms of
is.
discrimination
It
because
is.
it affects people's lives. It affects their quality of life. It affects their mental state and things. Like after a while, you start going, well, something wrong with me. No, it's not you. It's the racism that has been allowed to just flourish in contracting in Washington State. Now we have
Yeah.
Black consultants who go around and they're there, but nothing gets done. They do the
Well,
same. The girl who had that
I don't know what their power is. Then, if you're a Black consultant and you can't deliver something for the Black contractors, then I don't know what your power is. Then, I mean, sounds like looks like they don't have any power. But this is continuous going on. And the one thing you just said is about economics, and the whole idea in America was to make sure that we never got that so-called strong foot up. You take one step and then two steps backwards, and just to think that the state of Washington have not done business with us, ran us out of business. So many of us have not done business with us in a sizable way since Jesus left. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're absolutely
Since
right.
Jesus left. Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess we're supposed to wait for the rapture, okay? Because they haven't given us anything. In fact, they've taken from us.
Well, the sad thing is that in 2021, and Congressman Benny Thompson attached this letter, we had letters of support for equality from Senator Patty Murray, Congressman Benny Thompson, Congressman Adam Smith, Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland. When Benny Thompson wrote his letter, he was chair of the House Homeland Security Committee and had been the chair of the January 6th Special Committee. Adam Smith was chair of the House Armed Services Committee, who was our congressman in this area. Patty Murray was the second ranking senator. And then Marilyn Strickland did a letter in March of 2023 as whip of the Congressional Black Caucus. And you would think anybody else in America having that kind of political support would get some results. But because it's us, it's just us for us to get not justice. So it's really sad. But that's why there's this lukewarm support for the Biden administration because of the fact a lot of people are not getting, especially Black folks who've been here 400 years.
Well, I talk. You're right about the lukewarm response, but the alternative. I'm telling people, you know what? I don't care who the Democrats is running. We better wake up and understand that they're not going to round us up. They might not give us what we need, but they're not going to round us up. I mean, these other folks want to round us up.
Ain't no question about it.
Okay, so again, we're stuck between that.
The governor from your home state dropped out.
Oh yeah, he dropped out. I mean, this guy, unless there's an earthquake in Trump's life, he will absolutely be on the ballot in most states. Okay, I mean, and the Supreme Court, people didn't realize in 2016 it was about the court, not about the president. I mean, people really don't understand is that the court is the final arbiter of America. And they got the court set for the next 40 years. So I'm glad the young people are getting involved because I'm telling people, don't get discouraged, man. We've been here before. I mean, our kids, so many people are doing pop culture. They don't realize that we've been here at this very place before in our life in America.
Well, we certainly have. And we're an African descendants of the United States enslaved have been the most patriotic of all Americans.
Yeah.
And we've been here 400 years. I fought in every war.
Right.
Because of slavery, America became an economic power because
that's right. That's right. We're running out of time now, Mr. Rye. So I'm good.
Okay, then.
But this is good. So I have you on next week so we can continue this because it's not going away. It's not. It's our voices that are going to have to keep talking about this. So I appreciate you coming on and Happy New Year to you and all the good work that you're doing. And let's continue to move forward. How is that?
That's fine. Look out for Angela Rye's podcast, Native Land Pod.
Okay.
It was number one last week.
Okay, I'll look out for it. All right.
Okay, look for it. Okay,
thank you. All right, then.
Thank you. All right.
You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. We're taking a break and we'll be right back. Love to be on the air. Thank you.
The King County Sheriff's Office is proud to support the Mother's Justice Show. We're an equal opportunity employer that recruits, hires, and trains qualified and diverse police officers to practice constitutional policing throughout King County. With a starting salary of $62,000 a year, scheduled pay increases along the way, generous health, dental, and vision insurance, and a take-home car upon successful completion of field training. This can be an attractive and rewarding career. So join us and be a person that serves their community and helps to bring about positive change. For more information on becoming a member of King County Sheriff's Office, go to our website, kingcounty.gov/DEPTS/sheriff. That's kingcounty.gov/departments/sheriff. Or get more information by calling 206-263-KCSO. That's 206-263-KCSO.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Bored with the other stations, hammering away on the same old talking points? Try Alternative Talk 1150 and get some variety.
Oh, good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on there. I love that song. You know, woke up this morning with freedom. You got to wake up with something. You might as well have freedom than to wake up with being angry. So freedom gives you something to wrap your day around. So freedom for all people. I want to bring my next guest on here. He has been on for a while. It's Gabriel Tucker from Arkansas. I haven't been to that, but I'm planning on coming because you're going to invite me. Welcome. Just I'm so happy to see you. And
So
hear all
good
the
to see
good
you.
things you've been doing there in that landlocked state. Not a lot of water there. I presume, maybe not. I gotta live near the water. Under those states, I'm glad they're there. I'm glad that people
Me
like you are
too.
living there. How many rivers or streams do you have?
We've got in the east side of the state, it's a lot of water. It's not enough to satisfy you, Reverend Walden, but it's the Mississippi Delta.
Oh, the Mississippi Delta. Okay, okay, okay.
But it ain't the Puget Sound and it ain't the Pacific Ocean.
Well, the Grand Ole Mississippi has it goes a long ways. The tributaries to the Mississippi. I think the tributaries start somewhere in Canada, I believe, and then flow north.
Wow.
I mean, flow south, I believe. So I used to follow great rivers because I'm a lover of rivers that flow north. And they're unusual. I mean,
Mm,
I grew up in the town, Sanford, Florida. The St. John River starts there, and it flows
okay.
north. Most
Wow.
rivers, uh, most rivers flow south. The
Mm-hmm.
Ponderay in Montana flows north into Canada. The Blue
Mm,
Nile flows north in East Africa. So I just love rivers and tributaries, and it's one of those things that I used to study. We used to get an atlas, and we would know all the rivers in the world that flow north. That just because I like that. So anyway,
that's
I
so
love
cool.
rivers.
Well, it makes me think of Langston Hughes and, saying his soul has grown deep like the rivers.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's something about rivers and the tributaries, and all of the streams and everything. Eventually it all runs out to the ocean.
Hmm.
Everything eventually ends up back to the ocean, and it's part of the life cycle, and I know that that's the good work you're doing. But you want to
Mhm.
just give my audience a little info about you and the true transparency. I do know Leo. I've been knowing him for a while, and I was instrumental in being part of his program at one time on some way. So yes,
Yes, yes. Reverend Walden, you and I met through my beloved friend Michelle Storms, who's now the director at the ACLU.
that's right.
And I'm so glad I just went into her office my first day in law school and I was like, I want to meet somebody who does important work on the ground in Seattle. And she didn't hesitate. She was just like, let me get you Reverend Walden's information. So that's how we met at Starbucks.
Yeah.
That Starbucks not even there anymore. Anyway, yeah, so I graduated law school and came back to Arkansas and I do civil rights work here in Arkansas, immigrant rights work. We saw that the so-called resource officers, the SROs in the schools were arresting nearly, I mean, the city I live in is about 6% Black folks, African American folks here in Northwest Arkansas. And the arrest of students by the so-called resource officers was 48% Black students. And so together with the NAACP Northwest Arkansas chapter, I sued the city of Fayetteville because they wanted to add more police to the school.
Wow.
And we
What were they
stopped them.
arresting them for? I mean, were they? I mean, was it? I mean, were they criminal behavior or fights or
No,
felonies or just to
no.
arrest them because they was colored?
I was curious about that too, Reverend Walden, and I filed a Freedom of Information Act request, and every single police report was, oh, well, Johnny was in the cafeteria after he wasn't supposed to be in the cafeteria.
And that's a
Or,
crime. No, I mean,
mm,
but is that really a statute on the book for the schools there in Arkansas? If a child is still in the lunchroom, he can be arrested for vagrancy in the
you
lunchroom
know,
that their parents' taxpayers' money pay for.
exactly right. And it's just wild. But the statistics have gotten a lot better since we sued the city, and it was we kind of embarrassed the mayor and the police chief, I think, into doing better.
Well, now, were you able to make sure you expunge those criminal records for those young? Now they're juveniles. I mean, now they would have a record
Actually, I'm just making a note in myself on Reverend Walden because I didn't think
because
about that.
this gonna come up. Have you ever been arrested?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. And
I
once we
mean,
seal the record, they can honestly answer no under Arkansas law.
Right.
So I will reach out to these young people's families now and offer that because of you.
Otherwise they're not going to get a job, get into school.
Housing
I mean,
scholarships,
housing, all
whatever.
of that, is a prelude to them not being successful at all. No.
Exactly. Well, thank you for asking that question.
Well, it's all these barriers and just stuff like that. I mean, and I'm always interested in across the country because Seattle CSO's officers did not do that. I mean, it was different. I mean, they were there, and I think that now people threw out the baby with the bathwater, and some of the students want them back. But after George Floyd, a lot of places contract. I mean, cancel the contract, and but that incident was not in your town. I mean, it was like you get caught up in it, and what's happening across the country. So
totally. Another thing that our time with you has generated in my heart, mind, Reverend Walden, is that I went to so mostly I should say I represent children who have been seeking asylum at the U.S.-Mexico border, and they've been taken to Arkansas by the Office of Refugee Resettlement, and we make them eligible for Medicaid and a path to citizenship and in-state tuition and all this wonderful stuff, fight their asylum for them, that sort of thing.
Are they separated from their parents?
Yes, we've had the last 2 fiscal years a record number of unaccompanied minors relocated to Arkansas by the Office of Refugee Resettlement.
Wow.
And it's been a lot of work because each one of them gets the contact information of my nonprofit law firm, Arkansas Immigrant Defense. But we had a big outreach event in Little Rock on last Saturday. And it was wonderful. And we had 23 consultations. Several of the children have like life-saving or potentially life-ending disabilities. And we're going to be able to make them eligible for Medicaid so that they can get the full spectrum of care that they need, both in the hospital and at home. And I love my job. I'm one of the few happy lawyers that I know. But what came up?
You don't have to take those cases that you know.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my goodness! I mean, when you think about defenders, I mean, public defense. Being a prosecutor is a whole different reality. But when you are, I mean, I guess the law says you're defending people, and your opinion, your whatever has no bearing here. It's just a LAW. Just a law.
Exactly. Yeah. And I get to, have some pretty cool clients and, kids and teens. And anyhow, but the night before I went to a screening in Little Rock on the Elaine Massacre. It's the largest race massacre in American history. And it was, the official account is 200, but it was probably closer to over 1,000 Black farmers who were killed and their land mysteriously handed over to the wealthy white people in
what
eastern
state
Arkansas.
Was that in? In Arkansas?
It's in Arkansas.
Really? Because I never heard of that one. I know Mississippi had a bowl that is something that they just buried people in. I mean, the Mississippi bowl, and I think the peaches grow there, and nobody will eat the peaches.
Yeah. Nobody should be eating the rice fruit. From this. It is. It's strange
fruit. I mean,
in Arkansas, it's strange rice. So it's something that I was born and raised in Arkansas, Reverend Walden, and no one ever told me about it.
So it's called Elaine?
Elaine. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I'll send you a trailer. I'll send you a link to the trailer.
Yeah,
you can check it out.
I mean, and just to think that people want us to not, like in Florida, I'm from Florida, and the governor, he wants to take Black history out of everything. Right. And he wants to take out dictionaries. And them saying, I mean, these are the people who believe that the world is still flat. Really, because they believe that the world is still flat, and all the other stuff is just made up. And it's like, okay, if you take out the dictionary, I mean, how the children going to learn? Oh, I guess they could Google, but Google is not complete, man. I mean, if you depended on Google, I'm always correcting them. I mean, you know what? At the bottom of the search.
The truth might be at the bottom of the search.
But then they say, were you pleased with this? I said, no. And they ask me why. And then I tell them what history says.
Yeah. I love you, Reverend Walden. And what you said about the dictionary makes me think about one of the filmmakers said, a lot of these things are called race riots. And that suggests that there is guiltiness.
That's right. Somebody
on both sides. But
Somebody
what
don't
it
need something.
was a massacre. And it was just the typical colonial playbook of kill and dispossess, kill and dispossess.
Well, yeah, and like I said, I'm from Florida. I didn't know about Rosewood until they made the movie. I mean, that's a movie where they burned down the town in Florida, but they burned down towns in Florida a lot. I mean, there's a few
Okay.
of them, and this kind of stuff, and it's like, wow. But I'm really interested in this one because, man, they took the land too. See, the farmers, and they never have been compensated.
Never.
The farmers never been compensated.
Correct.
And now they still pay some farmers not to plant. I mean,
Isn't that wild?
yeah, and the other ones never got compensated. But
Right.
one of the things that's so terrible in America is hatred.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over the world right now. I mean, it really
100%.
is. I mean, because nothing has been settled. I mean, people are fighting over a god right now, or fighting over religion or land. I mean, it's like, well, Muhammad cannot. I'm good. Yeah, Muhammad can stand the test of time, and so can Jehovah or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so while we absolutely at this day and age having a war about land, because the Creator made enough land. I mean, it's land for everybody. If we open up our consciousness to believe that, but it's like this other stuff that goes on, and I think that nothing has been settled because nobody wants to tell the truth.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm excited about is the work that you're doing there. I mean,
Thank you.
I know that wherever Black people are, they're catching hell. I mean, really and truly. I mean,
Yeah.
we are suffering from white rage after 8 years of Obama in the White House.
Yeah.
There's a book about Black progress, white rage, and it shows it chronicles throughout history the rage of white people who've been upset about Black progress. And so what you see right now with a great takeover with the GOP, it really is directed at us first because we're in the Constitution on 13th, 14th Amendment. See, nobody else is. We're there.
Yeah.
We're there. We're there. I mean, they can say anything they want to, but the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. Now, I'm not sure if we're in the 15th Amendment, but I know the 13th and 14th Amendment, we are in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and so we haven't dealt with the fact that that the doctrine of discovery, and then there was a doctrine before that. It was Nicholas V. He gave Portugal exclusive rights to bring Africans out of Africa. He said that they was infidels, also Seraphins. I mean, Seraphim is an old word for Mohammedism. Mohammedism is a word for for Muslim. But he said that the Africans did not have a soul. And check this out. He said that we'd be in perpetual servitude, and that means perpetual suffering. So I want to be a bodhisattva. If you end the suffering of Black people, you heal the world. Can you imagine that? I mean, can you imagine the arrogance of people to believe that their God created the world when if you go back, everything they have come from the African continent.
Right.
All those holy books was not, it was no Mideast. It was no Suez Canal.
Right. Yeah. The origin of everything.
And so it was Northeast Africa. So just having a sense of geography sometimes can help you understand the world and
Absolutely,
how it's
Reverend
been
Walden.
tilted on a bad slant for a few people who came out off a small continent. Europe is small.
It is.
It's small.
It's comparatively very small, Reverend Walden. and something that you said just about that 13th Amendment, anytime I was in law school and someone would talk about the 13th Amendment ending slavery, I would raise my hand and I would say, actually, if you read it, it says slavery is prohibited unless someone's a convict.
Well, and that's
so you
true.
gotta read, read the small print in that 13th Amendment because we still have it.
Well, but you know what I regret? after 34 years of doing mothers, we didn't teach children in 1990 not to be a felon. Because really, when you're a felon, you have no rights in America. You are the immigrants who come and get sworn in on July 4th has more rights than a person whose ancestor came by way of the slave ship. And
Forced.
we did not know they were stolen. We call ourselves the stolen ones.
Stolen ones.
And just think about a missed opportunity. There's so many young people. I mean, like the state, in some of the states, you can't get your rights back.
Right.
In Florida, you ain't getting them back. Florida, that's my home state. Florida ain't giving them back. Okay, you can be a saint with wings on you.
Florida does not care.
No.
And
does Arkansas restore felons their rights?
I'm not sure to what extent. I will dig and let you know. But what you said reminds me of, starting in 1948, the U.S. government dropped bomb after nuclear bomb on the Marshall Islands.
Yes.
And made a lot of people sick, and continue to make a lot of people sick.
That's right.
As a result, Marshallese people are able to come and go legally from the U.S. And just in the last 2 weeks, Reverend Walden, for some reason, the xenophobes at Immigration and Customs Enforcement here in Northwest Arkansas have begun to deport Marshallese people. And at least the reports that I'm getting, it's not that they've done any sort of terrorism or anything. Some haven't even finished with their sort of criminal process. And we know that some people get charged with a crime that they don't commit. So they're being deported away from their families, away from their communities, back to the islands that are sinking because of climate change, which is happening because of mostly American consumerism. mostly European.
The Europeans left in the 1400s, and now it's 500 years, and look what has happened to the world. It's been around for a long time, So wow. Let's take a break right minutes and hold your point. Let's take a break and get a little music, and we'll be right back.
Cool.
You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. We'll be right back.
The King County Sheriff's Office is proud to support the Mother's Justice Show. We're an equal opportunity employer that recruits, hires, and trains qualified and diverse police officers to practice constitutional policing throughout King County. With a starting salary of $62,000 a year, scheduled pay increases along the way, generous health, dental, and vision insurance, and a take-home car upon successful completion of field training. This can be an attractive and rewarding career. So join us and be a person that serves their community and helps to bring about positive change. For more information on becoming a member of King County Sheriff's Office, go to our website, kingcounty.gov/DEPTS/sheriff. That's kingcounty.gov/departments/sheriff. Or get more information by calling 206-263-KCSO. That's 206-263-KCSO.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Alternative Talk 1150. Local talk for the body, mind, and soul.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. I want to thank Eric for playing that song, "Make Me an Angel," from Montgomery. You know, I like. You know what I like about that song? I want to bring my guest back, my guest Leo back on. You know, we've been knowing each other for a while. You know what I like about that song? Because I think of all the people that was there during the civil rights movement. You know, Rosa Parks, her birthday is going to be February 4th, and Dr. Martin Luther King, his son, passed away yesterday. You know, I think Dexter, I believe his name was. But you think about these people who absolutely stood not afraid. and they walked for over 300 and some days. It was, the greatest boycott ever. It was a Montgomery boycott. So when I think
Wow.
about that, I think about the greatness of people who actually who showed us how to stand.
Mm.
And then and then you doing that standing work right there in your state, in
Well,
it
thank
in
you.
incredible. So yeah.
And you're a part of my standing work here, and I tell people, and I attribute the quote to you, and you kind of hinted at it earlier in our conversation of the biggest lie anybody ever believed was that there's not enough for everybody.
And it is enough. What creator would create a world and not put enough in it for people? I mean, what creator would do that? It
Yeah.
has, it has nothing to do with the creator. It is man's consciousness. It's the reason why it's not enough food. It's man's
Mhm.
consciousness why children are in Gaza are scared and crying and vice versa.
Mhm.
I don't know that kind of creator. I mean, that kind of creator that would create a world and make sure that some have and some have not. I left that a long time ago. I left that kind of thinking
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
it does
Mhm.
not uplift us. It does not. It does not even make creator. It does not even make the divine look good.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
It does not make the divine look good.
Does
Oh, well, the
not.
people over there, they're so special. They get to have all of the food and the scraps that they don't like or don't want. They'll bring them across the street for the people that just wasn't quite blessed enough.
Right.
That's the Adam Smith attitude. He said,
Mm.
the father of capitalism. He had some stuff to say about, people who are blessed. People who have a lot. They're blessed by God.
Wow.
But it's a
Wow.
consciousness. The kingdom is it was in all of us. So we're all blessed. We
Mhm.
just have to learn how to access the kingdom. I mean, it's not anything outside of us. So it's consciousness. And so if people
Yeah.
believe, and then and you think about all the people who believe that they weren't worthy, because that's what the Catholic Church
Mm.
says. Well, Lord, I'm not worthy to receive. You only say the prayer, the words, and I shall be. How can you not be worthy? You were made in the image and in the
Right.
love of the Most High. So how can we not be worthy? It's it's
Yeah, not
it's it's
logical.
it's, it's all it's not true, and
No.
that's why it's so much sorrow and despair
Mm-hmm.
because people believing that they're not worthy. Of course, they're worthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're worthy. They're
Yeah.
worthy of the banquet table being set, but it's already set. It's in the invisible world. You have to understand how to bring it to this plane of existence. See?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what you said reminds me, we'll meet at the welcome table, I think was the name of this song. Yeah, the welcome table was an old gospel song I would sing
Oh
as a
yeah.
kid growing up.
Right. Hmm.
Everybody's welcome at the welcome table.
Yeah. We need more welcome tables, don't we?
Oh, welcome tables.
Can you imagine welcome tables all over the world? I mean, right there in Gaza, right in Israel, right there in all the places, and people just sit around and the mothers could hold their babies, and
Wouldn't that be
sometimes
nice?
you might have done some of this work, Stephen, but I mean, Leo, but I've always been so concerned about the mothers who children was taken from them at the border. When Trump came in, I mean,
Yeah,
and that, and and some of those mothers will never see their children because they didn't process them right.
right.
And some mothers probably have felt like they didn't want to be on the planet and maybe committed suicide.
Right.
But the children, they're hard. The children's hard. Yeah, yeah. They never will see. Some of them will never see their mothers again. And
Yeah.
it's almost like a death. I mean, I understand that my mother died when I was 2 years old, but it's like a death for these children. And
Mm-hmm.
America created this and they didn't have to create that for these children. I mean, it's such a
No.
tragedy, and so that's why the work you're doing there is really good.
Well, thank you. I like to distinguish between necessary suffering and unnecessary suffering. And as you just highlighted, that unnecessary suffering at the border is just so unnecessary. Like necessary suffering is like, okay, you get a wisdom tooth, you're
Oh
18,
yeah,
wisdom teeth happen.
oh yeah, okay, but don't forget our childbirth. I mean, you would have that experience, but that's suffering too.
That is true. That is true.
But at the end of that suffering, there's a bundle.
There's a bundle.
And they
Yeah.
they swaddle it up and put it in the mother's arms, and everybody's so
Mm,
happy. But
mm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're right, Reverend Walden, that it's important to not just share the bad news. And I thought of just a couple of stories that are really lovely,
Okay.
that I could share. We had it's not uncommon for folks from Central America, young folks, to be kind of lured to the U.S. by human traffickers and say, "Oh, we'll
Right.
get you a great soccer scholarship. Life's going to be great." And if it's a young woman, she's forced to perform sex work. If it's a young man, he's forced to perform construction work, and they keep all the money.
Right.
And eventually, hopefully, they break out and find their way to a safe adult that connects them with our legal services, and we help get them on a path to unexploitability.
Right.
So we had a case just kind of along those lines recently, and the young person had a disability that one of her feet was growing faster than the other. She was still very young.
Wow.
And so we had filed the application to get her on a path to lawful status with the federal government, but then the state of Arkansas was refusing to give her Medicaid in violation of the law. And I contacted the attorney at the Department of Human Services, and I said, "Hey, could you please fix this?" And historically, he's been pretty amenable to working with me and not making me endure a 5-hour administrative hearing to get the situation resolved. And he told me, no, that the person who was in charge is out for weeks and that he couldn't tell me when it would happen. And I wrote him back, and I said, as I've already explained, it's a really important situation. She can't get on and off the school bus because she keeps falling because of this fast-growing foot situation. And it's nothing personal, Rich, but it's Friday. I don't have time to do it today, but I'm going to see you on Monday, and I'm going to have a press conference on the steps of the Arkansas Capitol, and I'm going to name your name in every single sentence that I say.
It's a proper noun you're going to put in there.
Proper nouns, no pronouns. And by golly, if you wouldn't just believe it, Reverend Walden, I got an immediate phone call apologizing and an email apologizing. And that child's Medicaid was immediately approved. And it seems to have fixed the whole department. Like, I haven't gotten any unlawful denials since then, and I'd gotten plenty before that.
Wow.
And so it's just, some people do the right thing if they get that spotlight, even just fixing to be pointed at them.
Well, and that's how they have to be sometimes. I guess Jonah and the whale didn't want to go somewhere, and they got that spotlight.
He got the whale spotlight.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
You're
That's
absolutely
good.
right.
That's good. I'm glad that you're able to do that there, and I'm so glad you inspired to take your degree and be of service with it.
Thank you.
Me
too.
Yeah,
I'm so glad that
service.
somebody paid for my law school, because a lot of people, they come out with debt and they can't do the good work
Yeah.
because they want to buy a car.
They gotta go be a prosecutor or work as a public defender.
Exactly.
And they are overworked. They get 10 times the cases a day than the prosecutor, and less money.
Exactly.
I mean, of course, Washington State has a pretty good, on some level, on this side of the mountain, has a pretty good public defense situation. But in some places, it's not like it is here in Seattle.
Exactly,
So,
Reverend Walden. And those prosecutors have investigators called the police, and
and they always going to agree with them because they need them to solve the other cases. See, that's the dynamic. See, and that's why they always walk. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that you do the work for a lifetime, and then you realize that it's a work of the heart, and the law is one thing, but it's the heart. Heart has to be changed, and then you look at it, like the police officers here down in Tacoma, the killing of Manny Ellis. Not only did they was found not guilty. They were cleared of it in the investigation and allowed to quit and walk away with $500,000 each. So they got $1.5 million. And in our community, they used to say, "Kill him, get a prize."
Wow.
So,
it's just a bounty. Yeah.
That's exactly right. But there's a higher law. They might have gotten away with it on this level and plane of existence, but you never know what happens in their what's going on in their subconscious mind. And that kind of
Absolutely.
thing. So, but
Yeah.
I'm going to send you my press release for my new cards. I
Oh,
have
good.
some virtues healing cards that I'm doing. I'm doing healing circles with the virtues. And
Fantastic.
I'll send you that. And who knows, I might get invited to Arkansas.
I would
Do a
love
healing
to help
circle. They come,
facilitate that.
and so they come there. Well, I'd love for you to facilitate that.
Awesome. It's such a
Oh,
joy to be with you,
it
even just
is.
virtually.
It is. And I just always admired your the way that you moved in the world. You moved
Thank
in the
you.
world with care.
Mm.
And and it comes from the heart, not from the head. The head is the reason why we're in trouble.
Yeah.
We need more people who are willing to be heart centered in the world, and I
Mm.
think that that's the only thing that's gonna fix the world. The law is
Right.
there. The law is immutable. On some levels, I think they are, but it's the unfeeling and all of this stuff with the law.
Mhm.
But I do believe that the changes in the world will come from moving from our head into our heart center. And everybody
Yes.
wants to be a bodhisattva, to end
Yes.
suffering,
Mm-hmm.
end
Mm-hmm.
suffering. You know
Yes.
what? I think we have the capacity to end suffering.
I think so.
Why not? Because we know that God made everything in abundance, and
Exactly.
it's all made up. This lack is all made up.
It's all fiction. All this lack, all this scarcity is fiction.
It is.
Exactly.
It really is. It really is, because there really is enough.
Mhm.
I just think if you and I had a couple of those billions, what we'd be doing? We wouldn't be trying to save them to the next lifetime.
No. We're not trying to give it all to our children or nothing. We're trying to change the world.
Oh, we
Yeah.
change the world. That's a song too. That's a good one. Talking about change the world, and we are the world. So yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
but I believe I'm good. I'm going to always be eternally hopeful.
Me too. Me
And
too.
and that's why sometimes you have to isolate yourself from so much stuff that's going on.
Totally.
Because
Totally.
it's to make sure that you are full of apathy and lethargic and, oh man, I don't know what I
Mhm.
gotta do.
And something else you told me, Reverend Walden, and I use this one all the time too, is maybe they're right. Maybe we can't have a world of justice and peace where we can all fulfill our potential. But if we try for it, if we just try for it, then so many people are gonna have less suffering and a chance
right.
at freedom.
Right.
And so, but I'm with you. I know we can have it.
I do too. And I want my audience to know that this is a podcast, and they'll be able to listen to it on the station here. I want to thank you for coming on, and I'll send you my press release. And you just have a great week, and a happy New Year to you.
Yeah, happy New Year.
I like your name. I like Leo.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Thank you. Bye-bye. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host from Walden. I'll be back next week. If not, Candace Salisbury will be here.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.